If you're applying to study abroad, your letters of recommendation are going to make or break your application. In this video, I'm going to break down everything you need to know about having a strong letter of recommendation. I want to talk about 6 different things. What admission officers are looking for, who to ask to be your recommenders, when and how to ask to write these recommendation letters, how to help them write a very strong recommendation letter, how are the letters officially submitted, and common mistakes to avoid. What's up everyone, my name is Nand, Javia. I'm the founder of Scholaroid Education. We help students to study abroad and perhaps also get full scholarships abroad. I was a full scholarship recipient for my bachelor's in the US at Texas Christian University, and very recently I've been accepted to Harvard University for my master's in education. I really understand the US education system from the inside, and I would really like to help you build that strong application. Number 1, what are admission officers looking for? Recommendation letters are sometimes as important as the essays. Especially the top 50 universities, the Ivy League Plus, are really looking at the recommendation letters with a great level of importance. They're mainly looking for 2 things. How long has the recommender known you and in what context? And the second thing they're looking for is what are they actually saying about you? What are the details that they're able to share to spread some light on who you are as a student and as a human being? Number 2, who to ask to be your recommender. Ideally, you should select teachers from grade 10, 11th or 12th for core subjects, math, English or sciences. Counselors, internship supervisors, any sports coaches or perhaps mentors that you have from other extracurricular activities, all of them can also write a recommendation letter for you. Usually, you will need at least 3 recommendation letters. Doesn't matter if you're applying for a bachelor's or a master's. So 2 of them need to be academic, and then 1 of them could be extracurricular or professional. This will not apply to you if you're applying for a higher level degree and you have years of work experience. Then you only need professional recommendation letters. While selecting someone to write a recommendation letter, what is actually very important is to know early on that they're not going to write a weak recommendation letter for you. And how to spot these weak recommenders is actually by understanding how long have they known you for. And one of the tricks is also, if they're saying yes to writing a recommendation letter for you immediately, without asking you any questions, without understanding the context, if they think they will be a good recommender or not. If they're answering yes immediately, that is sometimes a little bit of a red flag, Make sure that they ask for your goals and your academics before they write a letter for you, to really make sure that these letters are more detailed oriented. Number 3, when and how to ask your recommender. Ideally, you need to ask at least 3 to 4 months before your deadline. If you're applying for the fall semester in the US, you need to ask them the August of the previous year, so almost 1 year in advance. When you ask your recommenders, try to really meet them in person and ask them to write your recommendation letter, and make sure to give them a strong proposal of why you want to study abroad and why their recommendation letter is actually a very important piece of your application to study abroad. Number 4, how are recommendation letters actually submitted officially? This is something that students don't know about before they start their applications, but it's very important to know that recommendation letters cannot be submitted by students. Doesn't matter if you're going for an undergraduate degree or a master's degree or a PhD, your professors or your teachers or your recommenders need to submit these recommendation letters directly on the application portal. How it works is that as a student, when you have your application portal, you will need to put in the name, the email and the contact information of your recommender, and then they get an email on their side asking them to officially accept the request to be a recommender and to upload the recommendation letter. What is very important, and this is a pro tip that I would like to give you, is please use their professional emails. If your recommender and if your school or your university has professional emails, which means .edu or .com emails, which are not general, which are not Gmail, which are not Yahoo or any other company, many universities in the US and other countries actually care about if you're using this professional email or not, because faking recommendation letters is something which is a big problem when in the admissions industry, and having a professional email will really legitimize, I guess, your application and make the university admission officers really trust your recommendation letter. If by any chance your school or your recommender does not have a professional email, it's still okay. But to still kind of bring the confidence level high, what you should really do is print out that recommendation letter on the letterhead of that company or that school. Make sure that your recommender signs it. Make sure the contact information for your recommender is there on the email, on the letter, and also make sure to put a school stamp or something if available. This will really make the actual PDF of the recommendation letter very strong during this entire process. However, on the other side, if they do have a professional email, then most of the times it's not really that important to put it on a letterhead and put sign and stamp and stuff. But if you have a professional email, that automatically kind of legitimizes things as you go during this process. One other thing I would like to tell you is that in your application portal, you will need to waive your right to reading this recommendation letter. In most universities around the world, they want to know that the student has not read this recommendation letter before it's being submitted, because they want to really make sure that the recommender is able to share about the student openly and freely without the fear of the student reading these things. So you will need to waive off this right, and you will need to make sure that you don't read the recommendation letter. However, most of the times the professors or teachers will be willing to show you the letter to make sure that you like it or something, but that's the whole different story. But officially, you need to waive off that right on your application portal. Let's go to number 5, how to help your recommender write a great recommendation letter. This is actually one of my personal favorite ones. And if you decide to work with Scholaroid Education for your applications to study abroad, this is one of the main things that we will actually help you with. I like to personally call it a brag sheet. We like to create a brag sheet of a student where it's a one-page sheet. We're talking about a few things that you've done, summary from your resume, your extracurriculars, your professional experiences, what you want to study abroad, what program you're going for, and really trying to brag a few things about you. And this sheet is actually going to help your recommender remember some of the good things about you and have it in front of them while they're writing the recommendation letter. Maybe a recommender has actually known you for 5 years, but things that you did 2 to 3 years ago might actually fade away, because teachers or professors are meeting so many students every single year, and some of your very important achievements might have faded away. So this brag sheet is actually a very important piece of paper that is going to help your recommender write a very strong recommendation letter for you, because it has all your achievements and stuff in one place. In fact, a lot of times I've seen that professors will request this type of information. They will request this sheet from you before they can actually write a recommendation letter, because maybe they've forgotten, maybe they want to really get to know you more, but they really want to understand why you are perfectly fit for the program that you're applying for or for the degree that you're applying for. So this brag sheet is very important. And as I said, if you decide to work with us, then this is definitely one of the things that will help you create in this part of the process. Number 6, common mistakes to avoid while asking your recommenders to write your recommendation letter. Asking at the last minute. This is a mistake that I personally have made in the past, and it can really make the recommender hurried up and write a quick generic type of recommendation letter. So make sure that you give them a lot of time, at least 1 month. If they use the entire 1 month or not, it's up to them. But if you ask to write them 3 to 4 months before your deadline, then it's probably the perfect time, so you have that kind of checked off your checklist and you don't need to worry about it in the future. Choosing the wrong person can also kind of hamper the effects on a strong recommendation letter. If that person is not very responsive, it might get difficult in the future when you need them to upload that recommendation letter on your application. Because it's not just about writing it and giving it to you, it's also about uploading it on the different application portals wherever you will be applying to different universities. So it's a little bit of a work. So you need to make sure that someone is responsive enough to you and is able to spend 5 to 10 minutes to help you also do this extra step to upload the recommendation letter. One other mistake to avoid is try to not micromanage everything that is written in the recommendation letter. You might want to make this brag sheet so detailed, and I completely understand. A lot of students that I meet actually have a lot of achievements and they have so many things that they want to talk about. But I would strategically, what I would do is not give the same brag sheet to all the recommenders. In fact, make different ones for different recommenders, so that everything that you have done is covered, but each recommender is not kind of overwhelmed with so much information about you. The last one mistake to avoid is simply not being a good student. If you have not been a good student in the last few years, it makes things very difficult for the teachers to actually write a recommendation letter. Any sort of fakeness that the admission officers read in your recommendation letter is actually very easy to detect. You need to understand that these are admission officers who are reviewing 50,000 applications, 2 to 3 recommendation letters per student. So they actually are able to really understand which ones are made, which ones are generated by AI, which ones are very generic, and which ones are a little fake, if you would like to call it. Because the true ones, the true teachers that have known you and that have spent 2 to 3 weeks building and crafting a very nice recommendation letter, those authentic ones will always stand out. Because when you're reading 10,000 recommendation letters, that authentic one will actually definitely be a little bit different, and it will kind of help you stand out from all your other competitors when you apply to these universities. And one last mistake to avoid perhaps is also not saying thank you after your teacher or your recommender has written a letter for you. Make sure to thank them, perhaps send them a card, and let them know what were your decisions after you got admission. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. That was the end of this video about recommendation letters. I hope that you learned a little bit. If you are looking for some professional counseling to study abroad, here at Scholaroid, we have helped more than 300 students to study abroad in the US, and more than 150 of them actually studied on full scholarships. So if you're a bright and smart student anywhere in the world and want to study in the US and now also other countries that we are helping with, but you require scholarships to study abroad, check out www.scholaroid.com and make sure to fill out our contact us page, fill out the form, get in touch with us, get on a call with us, and let's see if we can actually help you get that life-changing scholarship that you might need to study abroad and make your dreams a reality. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you connect with us and we can help you with your future career. Thank you.